Oh, poor Stanley. She wants to go out. Luckily for Stanley, she doesn't have to worry too much about her nutrition. We buy her good cat food, and I'm sure she gets a full complement of proteins. I, on the other hand, don't have it so easily. I've got to make choices. For example, I come home from work, I'm hungry, I'm looking for some food. I'll go to the refrigerator and start to pull out some food to eat. And one of the things I think about is, am I getting sufficient nutrition during the day? And I know I need a lot of protein. But in addition to meeting some nutritional requirement, a daily nutritional requirement for protein, I also need to meet a daily nutritional requirement for the amino acid composition of those proteins. That is, not all amino acids are equally abundant in foods, and I need to make sure I'm getting all the amino acids I need. For adults, there's 8 essential amino acids that you need to make sure you get in your diet, or else you'll be lacking those, and you'll have to start recycling and breaking down other proteins in your body to supply the construction for new proteins. And let's see how I do if I go about my daily routine here. Say I come home and I pull out some spaghetti, and there we have, not any old spaghetti of course, we've got a nice whole grain spaghetti. Let's say I sit down and challenge 2 cups of that spaghetti. Well, what else have I eaten during the day? Well, started the day, some nice low sugar oatmeal. Let's say I had 2 cups of oatmeal, probably about 4 packs. Never do that, but just for the sake of argument. And then for lunch, maybe I had some rice. Wait a second, that's white rice. We know that brown rice has got more protein. Why don't we do a little substitution here? There, we've got some brown rice. More protein in that. We'll have a couple of cups of brown rice for lunch. Maybe in the afternoon we'll have a snack of bread. Again, whole grain bread. Try and get as much protein out of that as possible. And then, because like other grains, some fresh ones, I have a nice ear of corn here. Got protein in it, we'll take that. And of course I'll need something to go on that bread. And we know the peanut butter. It's got a lot of protein, so I'll take a tablespoon of peanut butter and put on there. Well, I'd like to know how well I've done in terms of achieving the full complement of amino acids and also getting enough protein for the day. And so I've got a spreadsheet here that tabulates that. So taking a look at my spreadsheet, here we see the foods and how much of each food that I've eaten. And we go over here and it lists 9 essential amino acids. 1 is required for young humans. And here we can see how well I did. Well, in terms of total protein, the top line, I've met 99% of the required daily amount of protein. That's good. But if you look down through the list of these different amino acids in my diet, you'll see that one stands out, lysine. Right there, lysine. I've only met 83% of my daily requirement for lysine. And that's not good. Over the short term, and just one day, that won't be so bad. But over the long term, that will lead to nutritional deficiencies. The question is, how could I have eaten so many good foods, all those whole wheat foods, and not have gotten sufficient nutritional variety in there? Well, as it turns out, even though I ate some very good food, I ate very similar foods. You'll notice that they're all grains. We've got wheat-based pasta, oats another grain, rice is a grain, the wheat in the bread is a grain, corn's a grain. The only thing that was not a grain here was the peanut butter. And as it turns out, grains do not provide a full protein. That is, they don't have equal abundance of all the amino acids, and they're deficient in lysine. And so what we find is that whole grain diets, although they're good for you, don't give you the full complement of amino acids. There's Stanley. I guess she's not hungry, is she? So let's do a little test here. Let's see what would happen if we, say, did a substitution. And instead of some of the rice, we substituted out some beans. So if we put a half a cup of beans in instead of one of the half cups of rice, let's see how we've done. So I can go back into my spreadsheet. And in kidney beans, here I'll add a half a cup of kidney beans. And I'll take out a half a cup of the rice. And let's see how we've done. Well, if we go over, we see that we've met 108%, a little bit more of the total protein, and now we're up to 100% of lysine. As it turns out, legumes, which include the beans and peanuts and other related species, legumes when combined with grains usually offer a full complement of proteins. And we see a lot of cultures around the world, whether it's in Japan, traditional foods of rice and soy beans, or in Mexico, traditional foods of rice and beans, in the Caribbean, rice and beans, we see that those offer a full complement of proteins. The legumes tend to be missing and low in methionine, and the grains tend to be low in lysine, and together they make up for the other deficiencies. Well, there's another way that you can ensure that you get the full complement of amino acids in your diet, and that's to eat foods that contain the same proportion of amino acids that you require. Turns out many animal products, dairy, poultry, meat, fish, these have amino acids in about the same relative proportion as your needs. So if you're getting enough protein from these sources, you're normally getting enough of the requirements of the various amino acids. Well, there you have it. I'm going to get down to eat because I've got some thinking to do, make some brain power, prepare that lecture for tomorrow. So that's just a little bit of information about the way we use amino acids and the importance of the amino acid composition in your dietary needs. We'll see you in class. Bye now.